of doing something that we know we need to do. And as we look at the story of this particular woman, she's a woman of great, great faith. And we look at instances in our lives and we watch our children grow up, whether it's your first step as a child, your first attempt to drive a vehicle, or something that you continually have problems with, such as balancing a checkbook. Somebody say, uh-oh. Every one of us has faced failure. An old quote says, if you've never stumped your toe, you're probably standing still. We have to be real honest with ourselves, because God knows everything about us. Spiritually speaking, however, perhaps you struggle with failing on a consistent basis. In other words, that's your norm. Maybe you failed so many times that you have lost count. I realize there are a multitude of books and quotations that could draw from this morning about overcoming adversity and failure. But let our story this morning draw from the very pages of God's Word to show you what can happen in your life when failure is the womb of success. Jesus was on his way to heal the daughter of Jairus. And this woman had the odds stacked against her to begin with. She was not the object of Jesus' attention. Look at your neighbors and neighbor. You may not be the object of God's attention right now. Jesus was not on his way to take care of her problem. He was on his way to take care of Jairus' daughter. Sometimes, however, it's necessary for us to get Jesus' attention when it seems like he's busy with other people. Matthew chapter number 8, verse 1 and 2, we read, where one leper came and worshiped him, while the multitude simply followed him. Some of us in here this morning are just followers. And then some of us are worshipers. A worshiper don't need nobody to encourage them to worship God. They worship God in the shower while they prepare to come into the house of worship. They worship on their way to the church. And they worship continually while they're in Sunday school. And while they're in Sunday school, their worship extends over into morning worship. But some of us are just following. Till somebody say, uh-oh. Much people follow Jesus and throng him. This woman faced the battle of fighting a crowd who undoubtedly knew about her and her afflictions. One of the most difficult battles to do is to face down those who know how often we fail. But when failure becomes the womb of your success, the multitude, we can reach out and touch Jesus. The woman with the issue of blood, this woman definitely had an issue. If it was Dr. Luke saying, if he was here today, Dr. Luke would talk about, he would say in medical terminology that she was suffering from a mental hemorrhage, an excessive accumulation of blood. Because normal menstruation will last from 4 to 5 days at the course of 28 days. And it would be in the amount of from 4 teaspoons to a cup of blood. But this woman's issue was for 12 long years. And according to Jewish law, because she had an issue of blood, there was a law that God had given to Moses concerning a woman that's menstruating. And there were some things that she had to do, and socially she could not come out amongst other folk, because everybody she come in contact with will be unclean just as she's unclean. So now, not only does she have a physical problem, but now she has a sociological problem. She got not only sociological problem, she got some psychological problems that's stemming from her physical problem. And the problem that she had, the doctor took everything that she had to try to cure it. She still didn't get no cure. Sometimes we try to do everything ourselves, and we forget that we got access to God, and we done tried everybody else. We done tried to do it ourselves. We done tried mama and them, but we got to understand there's a God that sits high and look low. Tell somebody, say, try God. This seemed to be one of the catchwords of the day. Issues. I can't do this because I got issues. Well, I come to tell you today, can I be very candid? I'm going to be in there. I have some issues right now. And I come to tell you, you got some issues going on in your life right now. Issues. It doesn't matter what you call it or however, problems are still problems. And failure is still failure. She was by law unclean. If you study the law of Leviticus, the woman was considered unclean, impure, unholy, all the days of the issue. For 12 long years, this woman had been separated from everything close to her, trying desperately to find a cure. Watch this point. She was unable to come in contact with anyone or anything, for anything that she touched, sat on, or laid on became polluted because of her issue of blood. By its very nature, sin does us the same way spiritually. It leaves us unclean, unimpure, unable to be cleansed by anything that we come in contact with. We are alienated from those around us and from the very presence of God because of the uncleanness of our spirit. What a societal failure this woman had become. She had suffered many things by many physicians, undoubtedly by traveling from one doctor to another. This woman's story became widely known. Hence, her issue was known to all those around her. Nothing could help her. Her only recourse after spending all that she had was to simply accept the fact that she was doomed to die in the state of uncleanness. What a physician's failure this lady was. To spend all she had. Not only is she not getting any better, but she's out of options. She grew worse. No doctor is going to see her. Her reputation was widespread. She was incurable. And now she was broke. With a financial failure, she was. But when failure forgets, still somebody say, failure got a way of forgetting. When failure forget all these things, everything changes. When failure forget, someone once said, failure is an invitation to have recourse to God. You see things start happening when failure forgot. When failure forgot, you start trying again. When failure forget, you look at a new direction for the solution of your problem. When failure forget, you start trying to get to Jesus. What happened in this woman's life when failure forgot? When failure forgot that she was unclean, she broke tradition and touched his purity. When failure forgot that she was